Hi everyone, I'm sending lots of love to the Ohev community as I prepare for Shabbat in Jerusalem. I came to present at a conference for the National Library of Israel and to work with my colleagues here for a bit. My first time seeing them in person since October 7th. This Sunday is Lag BaOmer. It's been a long time since I was here in Israel for Lag BaOmer, and I understand that it's going to be pretty exciting even in a time of war. In modern times, we perceive this as a kind of break in the mourning period of the Omer, the days that we count from Pesach to Shavuot. Actually, the Torah describes the Omer as far from being a mournful time. It's an agricultural observance, and in a way it's a celebration of the success of agriculture in the land of Israel. We rejoice in our ability to cultivate the land that we were promised, and to make grain grow so that we can sustain ourselves in the land. The issue of counting, which is mentioned regarding Sfirat HaOmer, comes up again in this week's Parsha, Parashat Behar. V'safarta lecha sheva Shabbatot shanim, sheva shanim sheva pa'amim. You should count for yourself, safarta lecha, 7 weeks of years, 7 times 7 years. V'hayu lecha yemei sheva Shabbatot hashanim, tesha va'arba'im shana. So that the period of 7 weeks of years gives you a total of 49 years. That's how you count the Shemitah cycle, the cycle of 7 years at a time, counting towards the Yovel, which is the 50th year. There are a limited number of times that the Torah tells us to count, and there are different types of counting. The Omer, of course, is counted out loud, day by day. But none of the commentators here indicate that that's necessary for the count for Shemitah and Yovel. Nonetheless, the Kli Yakar, Rabbi Ephraim Linshitz, tells us something about the impact of this counting. He says that it offers the possibility of investing your days with spiritual significance. The Torah says, V'safarta lecha, you should count for yourself, which is similar to Usfartem lachem, count for yourselves, which is what it says about the Omer. And the Kli Yakar makes such an interesting connection. He makes this into a play on God's instructions to Abraham in the book of Genesis. God says, Lech lecha, which literally means go for yourself. And the Midrash says, Lech lecha means letovatcha u'lehanatcha, for your own good and your own benefit. So too here, says the Kli Yakar, it's to our benefit to count. Even though this particular mitzvah doesn't require a daily count, I think he's implying that it does require a regular kind of spiritual check-in, a recognition that the property we own and the wealth that we attain is meant to be accompanied by a sense of humility and gratitude to the divine. Only then, says the Kli Yakar, can the rest of the verse be fulfilled. It says, V'safarta lecha, you should count for yourself, V'hayu lecha yemei sheva Shabbatot, and they will be for you this number of years. Without that kind of spiritual investment, the years, they won't be yours in the same way. They'll just fly by without you noticing. Here in Israel right now, there is a sense of mourning this Omer period that goes beyond the significance of Sfirat HaOmer, and I've been surrounded by stories of loss and trauma. But there's also a sense of working towards something, which is part of what it means to count days. When we count, instead of just sitting with a calendar and sort of marking, right, here's 50 days later, I can send myself a calendar reminder. When we count, we have the opportunity to really make every day count. The Midrash, commenting on the idea of bringing the Omer, says, God is basically telling us, I do unseen work for you every day. That's what agriculture is. God brings rain, and dew, and wind, and God says, all I'm asking you to do is bring a small offering. Nowadays, we don't bring the Omer offering. We don't even do that. But we do take a moment each day to recognize the time of year that we're in and recognize that we're moving from Pesach, a time of redemption, to Shavuot, which is a different kind of spiritual high, the moment of receiving the Torah. Our days count when we make them count through our investment and with a sense of gratitude. Shabbat Shalom, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all when I return to DC.